Hello everyone. So let us start solving the questions of LAITS 7th March. First question is, what are the key elements that lead to so much variations in the physical and chemical conditions of different habitats? So as we know, it is most important abiotic factor is temperature. Next to temperature, say it's water, light and soil. So all these four have their impact on the physical and chemical conditions of different habitats. So these four are given in sequence in your NCERT book also. Next question is check a majority of the organisms which are restricted to narrow range of temperature. When it is a narrow range of temperature, then we know it is called, those organisms are called as stenothermal. Temperature no, so stenothermal. When they have wide range of temperature, then it is eurythermal. Okay. The salinity of seawater in parts per thousand, direct data type question. So parts per thousand of PPT. So answer will be 30 to 35% in open sea. Isn't it? Next to check deep, that is greater than 500 meter in depth. Okay. Deep in the ocean, the environment is perpetually dark and its inhabitants are not aware of the existence of a celestial source of energy called sun. We have discussed this also in the classroom. So that sun is absent. These organisms which are in abyssal zone or dark zone, they don't know that there is a celestial body like sun. Some of them, they are lacking eyesights also. That means visibility is absent, either absent or if present, then also very poor. Percolation and water holding capacity of soil is dependent upon soil composition, grain size, aggregation. See, percolation and water holding capacity are dependent upon all these factors. Okay, soil composition, grain size, aggregation, all this. Next point, check. Question number 6. The benthic organisms. Benthic organisms, what does it mean? Organism live near the sea bottom. When organism live near the sea bottom, these are known as benthic organism. Okay. 7th question, the process in which the body's internal environment is kept stable is known as, internal environment is stable, so that is known as homeostasis. Okay, it's homeostasis. Which of the following is the stage of suspended development? So we are having options like dormancy, hibernation, estivation and diapause. Hibernation, estivation. Hibernation is winter sleep, estivation is summer sleep. Dormancy in unfavorable condition, when the seeds are produced or but are not germinating. In favorable condition, when they are not germinating, that is dormancy. Okay, so dormancy means when in favorable condition seeds or buds are not germinating, so that condition is called dormancy. In unfavorable condition, when they are not germinating, that is called quiescent. Okay, so suspended development is called diapause. Diapause, in some algae we find diapause, or some microorganism we find diapause. To avoid summer related problems such that heat and desiccation, fish undergoes. Options are hibernation, diapause, estivation, none of this. So you know, fish, they undergo estivation, means summer sleep. Dash is any attribute of the organisms, that is morphological, physical or behavioral, that enables the organisms to survive and reproduce in its habitat. Options are exponential growth, acclimatization, adaptation and mutualism. So remember here, adaptation is an attribute of organism that enables the organism to survive and reproduce in its habitat. So it is adaptation. Okay, all the organism, they adapt accordingly, they are according to their habitat. Seals have a thick layer of fat that is called blubber below their skin that act as an thermostat, capacitor, resistor, insulator. So we know blubber, it acts as an insulator, does not allow heat to pass, and that's why they can live. I means they can survive in extreme cold condition also. So it is acting as an insulator. Number 12, microbes present in hydrothermal vent where the temperature far exceeds 100 degrees Celsius. So we know some thermoacidophiles which are belonging to archaebacteria, they can only sustain at a temperature which is exceeding 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so answer will be archaebacteria. Cyanobacteria, they cannot exceed. Eubacteria, so usually they cannot exceed that temperature. So exceeding 100 degrees Celsius, these are archaebacteria. If the age distribution, that means percent individuals of a given age or group, is plotted for the population, the resulting structure is called age distribution. Say pre-reproductive group, reproductive group, post-reproductive group. So when we place them, so we get age pyramid. Is not it? We get age pyramid. 14th question, check. The age of pyramid with narrow base indicates if base is narrow, that means pre-reproductive individuals are less. That means low number of young individuals. Okay, low number of young individuals. That means that population is declining. Okay, so let's go for the next question. Question number 15. Which of the following parameter is not a part of population growth? Not a part of population growth. See, natality, mortality, immigration, emigration. Oh, sorry. This not. Natality, mortality, metapopulation, and immigration. So which one? You know, metapopulation is not a part of population growth. Natality, mortality, immigration, emigration, both comes to, all these four comes to what? Uh, Population growth, but metapopulation doesn't come into population growth. Okay. Question number 16. Dash is the number of individuals of the population who left the habitat and have gone elsewhere during the time period under consideration. So when individual go away from population, then what happens? Then that is called emigration. So answer will be emigration. In growth pattern, 1 minus n by k, or you can say k minus n by k, okay, is, what does it mean? K minus n by k is called environmental resistance. Okay, k is carrying capacity, and k minus n by k or 1 minus n by k is called environmental resistance. Interspecific interaction arise from the interaction of interspecific interaction. That means what? Two species, between two species, no interaction between two different species, interspecific. If it is intraspecific, within community. So populations of a community, populations and their regulatory factors, and population of two different species. So answer will be population of two different species. Question number 19. Thorns of acacia and cactus are the most common morphological means of thorns of acacia and cactus are most common defense mechanism. Okay, so thorns are for defense purpose. Next question, check. Which of the following secondary compounds are produced by plants for the purpose of defenses against grazers and browsers? Strychnine, caffeine, quinine. Remember, all these are some secondary metabolites. Okay, secondary metabolites, and these are secondary metabolites are basically useful as a defense mechanism against these browser or browsers. Okay, so answer will be all of this. Cornell's elegant field experiments are related to baruncles, in which superior baruncle, Balanus, dominates the intertidal area and excludes the small baruncles, Cathamulus, from that zone. This phenomenon is called, means when dominant species replaces the smaller one, the recessive one, this phenomenon is called competitive release. Okay, not competitive exclusion principle, this is called competitive release. Cuscuta is an example of, Cuscuta is a total stem parasite, so it is an ectoparasitism. We have ectoparasitism, endoparasitism, predation, brood parasitism, so answer will be ectoparasitism. Next check, 23rd question. Dash in birds is an interesting example of parasitism in which the parasitic bird lay its egg in the nest of its host and the host incubates them. The popular example is quail and crow. Okay, so example is, it is called brood parasitism, where quail lays eggs in the nest of crow. Next is, which of the following is not an example of commensalism? Sea anemone clownfish, epiphyte orchid and on mango branches, liver fluke and fleas, cattle egrets and grazing cattle. Here, if you note carefully, A, B, and D are examples of commensalism. Where, say in this case, cattle egret is getting benefit and grazing cattle are not getting any benefit. Epiphytes are getting benefits. Mango branch is not getting any benefits. Sea anemone and clownfish gets benefit. Sea anemone is remaining unaffected. But in case of liver fluke and fleas, here the fluke is a these are what, parasite, so this is not an example of commensalism, so answer will be C. 25th question, the interaction is detrimental to both the species in, so we know when there occurs competition between two organisms, both try to hinder each other, and that's why competition is a negative interaction. So here both the organisms get, or both species are damaged. Next to check, wasps pollinating a fig flower is an example of. See, wasps and this fig, there is a relationship. Wasps helps in pollination. In return, fig provide them shelter and food specifically. So this is, in this case, both are getting benefited. So it is a kind of interaction. It's called mutualism. An interaction where one species is harmed while the other is unaffected is called. So when one is harmed and another is remaining unaffected, that is called amensalism. Amensalism. Okay. In competition, both are getting harmed. Okay. Commensalism, one is getting benefited, one is harmed. And parasitism, here also one is benefited, the host is getting harmed. Okay. This rule states that mammals from colder climates generally have shorter ears and limbs to minimize heat loss. So, answer is Allen's rule. Okay, according to Allen's rule, it says that mammals from colder climates generally have shorter ears and limbs or extremities. Allen's rule. An ecosystem is a group of components that interact with one another, group of interacting species in one place to one at one time, biological community and component of the physical environment with which the community interacts, and group of interacting chemicals and their cycles. So answer is what? An ecosystem is a biological community and component of the physical environment with which the community interacts. So this is the proper definition of ecosystem. Vertical distribution of different species occupying different level is called, that's called stratification. When organisms are vertically arranged, then that is called stratification. Two main structural features of an ecosystem are, two main structural features of an ecosystem are what? Species composition and stratification. This is very important and direct question from NCERT. Next, to check identification, enumeration of plant and animal species of an ecosystem gives its, when you are identifying and enumerating, okay, plants or animals or species of an ecosystem, gives its species composition. Is not it? Identification and enumeration of plants and animal species of an ecosystem gives rise species composition. Question number 33. The rate at which light energy is converted into chemical energy of organic molecule is the ecosystem's, we can say that is gross primary productivity. Which of the following most often limits the primary productivity of the ecosystem? Which of the following the most often limits the primary productivity of an ecosystem? It is the nitrogen. Okay, sorry. In aquatic ecosystem, it will be nitrogen, but otherwise it will be solar radiation. Okay, it is solar radiation, light, because it is the ultimate source of energy, so it can limit. And in aquatic ecosystem, if it is given, then it will be nitrogen. So in this case, our answer will be solar radiation. Question number 35. What is the annual net primary productivity of whole biosphere? And that it is clearly written in NCERT. It is 170 billion tons. Okay, 170 billion tons of organic matter. Question number 66. Which one of the following process have the water soluble inorganic nutrients go down into the soil horizon and get participated as unavailable salt? See, unavailable salt means what? When the salt or the mineral ion gets mixed with the water and they percolate downward and then they get lost from the soil substratum, then that process is called leaching. Okay, that process is called leaching. How much portion of the photosynthetically active radiation is captured by the plant? Actually, it's a big range. Answer is 2 to 10%. Okay. So different ranges are given, 5 to 10%, 7 to 10%, 8 to 10%, but for different plant, it varies widely and it is found maximum is 10% and minimum is 2%. So range will be 2 to 10%. Energy flow in an ecosystem is, see, energy always flows in unidirection. Okay, but matter they move in two different directions. So energy here, it is always unidirectional. So answer will be A. Each trophic level has a certain mass of living material at a particular time is known as, each trophic level has certain mass of living matter at a particular time, and is known as standing crop. Next check, ecosystems are dash because resources are dash move from one ecosystem to another ecosystem. So that's why its ecosystems are open, always open. In the class also I have mentioned ecosystems are open system because resources can move from one ecosystem to another ecosystem. Energy pyramids are used to represent energy transfer in an ecosystem because energy is dash between each trophic level. So between each trophic level, what happens? Energy is lost. Around 90% of the energy is lost in the form of respiration or heat. Okay, so due to respiration, it gets lost. Only 10% is conserved. The primary difference between sedimentary and atmospheric cycle is that in sedimentary cycle, the nutrients does not enter the atmosphere. So answer will be D. Over. Next question check 43. Which of the following pair is a sedimentary type of biogeochemical cycle? Biogeochemical cycle. Have you remembered that? We have phosphorus cycle, carbon monoxide, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus sulfur. Which of the following pair is sedimentary type of biogeochemical cycle? So answer will be D, phosphorus and sulfur cycle. Next question check. Which one of the following statement is correct about decomposition? During decomposition, you know the things or substances which are easily degraded, they decompose fast, okay? Or is water soluble substances will decompose fast. Decomposition rate is slower if detritus is rich in lignin and chitin. Obviously, chitin, lignin, strychnine, these are what very complex, and that's why it is difficult to uh, digest them, and quicker if detritus is rich in nitrogen and water, okay, soluble substance like sugar. So this is about the decomposition. Next to check last point, ecotone. So what is ecotone? Ecotone is a zone of transition between two communities. Okay, ecotone means what? A zone of transition between two communities. Okay, so with this, all the 45 questions are answered. Okay, thank you.